Bubble and Squeak is a puzzle platformer for the Sega Megadrive that doesn't get enough love. I can only find first impression videos, but no good reviews. The goal of each level is to find your blue friend Squeak and take him to the end of the level. Squeak has a few special moves that I never really figured out as a kid. You have no tutorials like most old games, but I'm sure it was all explained in the manual I never read. You can kick Squeak to make him zoom forward until he hits an obstacle and stops. If he hits a curved corner, he'll curl around it. Sometimes you need to stand in front of Squeak while he's zooming through the air after you've kicked him to stop him in place. You can also have Squeak throw you into the air to reach high places. You can pick up springs and put them down and jump on top of the springs to reach high places as well. You can even put springs on top of springs in a rudimentary physics puzzle. You can't jump on enemies to kill them, unlike many platformers of this time, but you can shoot a little star out and you have unlimited ammo for this projectile. You'll face a wide variety of enemy types, like baseball bat-wielding ducks, who reflect your projectiles back at you. If you hit them in the front, so you have to shoot them in the back like a cow would. Or flying elephants who shoot projectiles at you. But your main obstacle will be platforming puzzles. If you kill an enemy, you get a coin from them, and if you get 3 coins and find a bubblegum machine with Squeak next to you, you can get some bubblegum for him, and that allows you to ride him like a horse. I'm not sure what sense that makes, but this is good as when you're riding him you can jump higher, but much more importantly, he's much easier to control when you're riding him. You see, Squeak is very annoying. Your character controls solidly enough, but Squeak will stop following you as soon as he stops seeing you, so you have to move quite slow to get him to follow you. If you fall down a ledge, he'll often stand on top of the ledge and refuse to drop down. So that can be quite annoying, getting Squeak to do what you want him to do. In fact, the crux of most of the puzzles in this game is getting Squeak to a place that you can easily reach, but he can't. He also can't jump anywhere nearly as high as you can. Water at the bottom of the levels, after a certain amount of time, begins to slowly, or rather not that slowly, rise, which will eventually drown you, because you can't stay in it for more than a few seconds before you die, a bit like Sonic. You don't really have much warning of how much time you've got in there, unlike the little Sonic sound effect. And if Squeak drowns, that means you die too. Squeak can't be hurt by normal enemies, but spikes and fire do hurt him, and can drain your life rather quickly by killing him. The time limit before the water starts to rise is a bit too harsh on some levels, with you seemingly have to know exactly what to do and start doing it as soon as the level begins if you want to succeed. So it's like the game expects you to have played through it a few times before and figured out what you need to do. At least when you're playing on any difficulty, harder than easy. You see, the difficulty setting only seems to change how much time limit you have, which is a big deal on the later levels, where the time limit's very harsh. There are 30 levels across 5 different zones: a cave, a swamp, a desert, and a factory, and a city. Strangely enough, the levels jump between the zones, with you doing 1 or 2 in a cave, then to a swamp, then going to the factory and back to the cave, then going to a desert and back to a swamp. It's a rather strange order. I like that the game introduces all the things you can do and most of the things it can do to you within the first few levels, but keeps things fresh by mixing up the order of the things and the combinations of the simple elements, to give you puzzles that feel fresh even though it's not introducing any new element that you don't understand. You know all the things that it can throw at you, and so it feels like the game is smart, and if you die, it's because you just weren't smart enough to figure out the solution, unlike if it had thrown some totally new thing at you that you just don't understand what it is until you've interacted with it. There's gems throughout the levels, and if you collect 50 of those and find a cage, you'll release a baby. Getting 3 of these babies, that means on 3 separate levels, allows you to access a bonus round, which, if you get 50 gems in that before the time limit runs out, will permanently increase your max HP. You see, you start with a max HP of 3 or 4, which can easily run out, as you start the next level with whatever HP you ended the previous level with. So if you started the previous level, if you ended the last level with an HP of 1, you start the next level with 1 HP, which is a bit nasty, especially as HP increasing items, which little cupcakes you can eat, become rather scarce later on in the game. They're not plentiful enough. But raising your max HP can help you stock up on health early on, I guess. The worst thing about the game is how easily you can softlock yourself in a level by Squeek falling into a pit you can't extract him from, or you just not having enough time to finish by the time you've figured out what you need to do. You can restart a level, but that costs you a life. And once you've run out of all your lives, well, you have to just restart the game, or input a password. It gives you passwords every level, but these are really long and it takes forever to input them, and you're often going to make mistakes inputting them on a gamepad. I'm sure the game would have allowed you to save after every level if saving on a Genesis cart wasn't expensive and didn't require a special battery. So I don't feel bad at all using save states. I would never have finished this game without them. Collecting a little submarine in a level gives you access to a different kind of special stage, a shoot-'em-up-like level. The main game ends very abruptly after the last level. It has no bosses in, but there are bosses in the shoot-'em-up levels. Now, once you've finished all the shoot-'em-up levels, if you get to that special zone again, it'll just loop you back to the first level, and so there's nothing you get for the main game for beating these shoot-'em-up levels. They're just a fun little game you can play. You can get checkpoints within the shoot-'em-up levels, and so if you get to the shoot-'em-up level after completing another main game level, you'll start at the checkpoint. So I don't think you're supposed to beat all of those shoot-'em-up levels in one